this is Kate from Kate Forman Yoga, and today we are going to talk about some tips and tricks to help you break through the fear you might have when coming into a crow pose. So my first tip for you, which you may or may not have heard of before, is get a crash pad, get a pillow, get a couch cushion. I have my trusty little blanket here, and you're gonna put it at the top of your mat. And so when you start to move towards your crow pose, that little crash pad is there for your face to land on. And then you don't feel as scared. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but you don't maybe feel as scared to fall into the pose. The other thing I'm just gonna say about falling in crow pose is that your body will move your hands forwards for you and try to catch yourself. Like, that's just a reaction that we have, like, as humans, is to try to protect ourselves when we start to fall. So a huge part of crow is just trusting yourself and trusting that you're gonna be there to catch yourself if you fall. The other tip that I have for you to kind of get used to what it feels like to be on your hands a lot is get your crash pad, and then you can either stay with your feet on the ground or you can step on a yoga block. And you're gonna come into your crow shape like this. Now, this yoga block may or may not help you, so if you feel really uncomfortable, if you feel more scared, then ditch it. And I'm actually of the short arm crew, so standing on a yoga block doesn't always help me with crow. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come into your crow wherever you are, if you're standing on the block or if your feet are on the ground, and you're going to just play with shifting your hips so far forwards that your toes are barely on the ground, but they still are, right? So I'm in my crow here. My hands have most of my weight. I'm looking at my crash pad, not at my feet. That's a huge part. Don't look at your feet. Also, don't fall like I just did. If you just shift your weight forwards to feel what it feels like to be on your hands, that can help with the fear. I'm not a huge fan of the lift one foot up at a time. So if you don't know what that is, it's something that is often suggested when you're working on crow, where you shift forwards and you lift one foot up and you lift the other foot up. I'm not a huge fan of that because that's not gonna help you get into crow. It's not gonna take the fear out, and it's definitely not gonna help you get into it. What's gonna help you get into it is leaning as far forwards as you can so that your feet are barely on the ground, because then you lift your feet up and you come into your crow, right? You don't lift one foot up and then the other foot up. That is a significantly harder way to come into crow, actually, because it throws your balance off. It throws the distribution of your weight onto one arm and then the other, and that is a much harder way of doing it. So what I would suggest instead is to just shift forwards and see if you can get all of the weight into your hands. Keep your feet on the ground, that's fine, but just get all of the weight into your hands so you know what it feels like. And then after you get used to that, maybe you just pick up your feet and you come into your crow that way. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment below. You can follow me across all social media platforms at Kate Forman Yoga. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, please. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.